Well, that didn't turn out as anticipated. Round number 2. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly in here today. Oh, this will work, trust me. I'm a professional. Right. Yeah, I know. It's somewhat soothing, isn't it? A few thousand more to go. Red sky at night. Sailor's delight. So this here is my new Christmas gift to myself. A little baby English wheel. You might be asking yourself, what the heck can you do with that thing? Well, if you look over here at Grace, you know, she's got a pretty wide wheel on there. Even though I've got, for instance, this here says it's a 2-inch radius. There ain't no chance in hell of you doing a 2-inch radius with that thing. It's just too wide. So I've been looking for something that has smaller wheels on it, and I was actually just going to buy some little wheels. But I came across this thing for 150 bucks after Christmas sale on the Amazon. And frankly, that was a little hard to pass up because this thing is actually quite robust. It's 3/16" plate, all machined lower. The wheels are of very nice quality. I really can't complain about this one bit. So what my super plan is here, my genius mastermind, is I make myself a different frame, because I mean, that thing's a little small. So I made myself a larger frame here, so I'm going to use all those parts from that, install them into here, and then I'm going to use it to fix my fender without taking it off my truck. Now, years ago, back in the 30s, you could actually buy those little tiny English wheels, specifically for fixing fenders when you bump into stuff. A friend of mine has one, but I haven't seen one for sale forever. Plus, you know, they're somewhat, you know, limited usage. So I figured I could improve on that idea with something a little bit larger, a little more universal. Now, yes, this thing here is super stout. I mean, it's not going to flex. And this clearly is going to be a little bit of a weaker version. But if you're actually working on just pulling a dent out of a fender, you really don't need a whole bunch of tension. You know, after all, you're not fabricating a panel, you're repairing a panel. So you're technically probably doing a little more shrinking than you are stretching with the wheel. So it doesn't have to be nearly as robust as, you know, that guy is. So I'm gonna put that baby to the test here and see how it works. Now, I made one a few years ago because I needed one kind of in a pinch. I was working on a 37 Nash, and I just could not get my big monkey arms in there to fix the fender. So I kind of fashioned one of those up, sort of a quick use thing, and then it actually worked surprisingly well. And I let somebody borrow it, and you, of course, know how that goes. It's long gone. So this will be a fun little project. And, of course, I don't know, maybe I'll make a planchette hammer, too. Who knows? But in the meantime, I'm taking all the guts out of this thing, and I'll have this frame left over. So, I don't know, perhaps I'll make my own version of Carl Fisher's profiling hammer, which I think is genius, by the way. I was actually working on something a few years ago that I kind of lost interest in, and then he made that, and I was like, oh my God, why did I make that years ago? This is perfect. So, I figure I can use that frame for that, but probably not on this episode, because it's cold out here and I want to go inside. Now, English wheels have been around for quite some time, maybe 100 or so years. And it really all it is a hammer. I mean, it happens to be a rolling hammer, but still a hammer nonetheless. It really isn't much different than just a hammer and a dolly. You know, because the reality is, this is a hammer, this is an anvil. Exactly the same thing as this. This is just much more efficient in the scheme of things. By no means new technology. We've been doing this kind of same stuff since, I don't know, the Middle Ages, so I'm not improving on much. But we can always do something better than what we got. When I first got into this, you know, learning how to basically fix panels on cars and rust holes and stuff like that, you know, it's pretty rudimentary. You know, I didn't really understand how to make panels and these types of things. But watching Motorcycle Mania, that must have been, what, 1998 with Jesse James, and he had this old archaic English wheel that he had, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is this thing? It's like a life changer. And, you know, I thought, you know, I really need to get one of these. Well, turns out that a friend of mine, you know, an old guy who, you know, owned a body shop, he actually had an English wheel that he made from scratch out of you know, a couple of casters and some other stuff like that. Because, I mean, this is back in the day, you can just go buy one. They were like specialty tools. So he had made his own. So I went over to his shop and he kind of taught me how to use it. And it was like, oh yes, this is a life changer here. This very simple tool. Went home, made myself one, and you know, made a few different things on it. I've had a few different variations. Grace here is my fourth one. So this little guy here is now number 5 or 6. I don't know. I've had a few of them, but definitely a game changer. Relatively easy to use in the grand scheme of things, but yet unlocking the secrets to actually get it to do things is a little bit more complex than it sounds. Actually started learning more and more by watching a guy on YouTube called Lazzy's Metal Shaping, and really kind of moved on from there. But you know, it's not real special technology, but just a definitely something you have to absolutely have if you're working on these crusty old beasts. It's still mildly cold today. I'm about 30. I've become a little warm-blooded since I lived here in Texas. Just a dainty flower, I guess. Look, I still have all of them intact. Might be a record. So this thing is pretty good construction. I mean, for 150 bucks, I kind of can't complain. This was actually more economical than buying just the wheels, so. And I get all the machined lowers and everything with it, which is kind of hard to beat. So sometimes you need tools to make tools. Yeah, I mean, that's like 3/16 inch plate, or whatever that works out, metric system, I don't know, 3 or something. You can see, this is not a bad setup. But this here is the piece that really makes it worthwhile. It's all machined, you know, it's adjustable and everything. It'd take me more to make this thing than it cost me to buy, so kind of hard to pass up. The upper wheel isn't all that special. I mean, heck, I could use a caster. Yeah, look at that. It's not a bad little deal. So you can flip it one way or another. A little hitch pin there. So my plan is to use this here. And I tried to make this, you know, not super heavy because I could be able to hold it. So right now it's probably, I don't know, about 10 pounds. So I think that's manageable. But yeah, this is a nice machine piece. You know, it goes in there and it's got a little brass doodad in there. And a nice slot milled in there so it locks in place. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put a hoop on the top to hold the actual wheel so it doesn't fall out when I'm using it, but it's gonna work out just dandy. So now to unbolt this and see if I can assemble everything and see what happens. I'd like to take this apart and paint it, but it's too darn cold currently, so this will have to do for now. I know I complain about being cold, but I work for a Canadian company, so I don't really complain to them because they just laugh at me. 30 degrees is like a heat wave, apparently. Let's put this thing together real quick, test fit it. Well, I do need to get a better handle. Probably one of those two. Maybe like a Magic 8 ball. All right, so with this loosely put together, this is what we're looking at. However, as you can see, it's kind of fat back here. There's no spacers in there yet, so I think I'll take and pinch that and weld it together. I'll need to disassemble this and put a small break around the block here so it flows better. But that'll be a lot more comfortable on the hand, being able to get my hand around it, my big meaty paw. So let me take that back apart and we'll throw it in the brake or just figure out somehow to bend this thing. Now the key is to do it the same with the other direction. Because because I will screw that up every time. All right, now I just need to figure out how to bend this thing. I guess I'll stick in the press. And with the precision of NASA, that's going to work. Alrighty, so now that I got the basic frame built here, which at some point I may come in here and TIG weld all this stuff, but at the moment I think it's going to work just fine. So my next step is to, well, I got to lock that pin down so it actually does move, so I can go this direction and pivot this wheel, so that's pretty cool. So next thing is to close those in so the wheel don't pop out. And then we'll give the baby a rip. Of course, we'll require pulling the paint off of that front fender, which, you know, is going to be loads of fun. Still, fix that guy. Amongst the 9,000 other lumps and dents that sucker has on it, but, you know, little by little. Need to find a better knob for that. Still looking, still looking. All right, so this is the lower here. You can see it's machined for a set screw that's in there. So I'll pull that off and then figure it out. There we are. Just need a little more power. That worked. Hot. La 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 la. Alrighty, take that guy. Take that guy. Actually, let me throw a wheel on here. Tighten that guy up. Now I'll just weld those to the top of that, and then I'll have a nice threaded bolt to go in there. Easy peasy. it works, but it doesn't quite work enough. It's got a little bit too much flex in it. So right now it's bolted together, so I think I'm gonna tack weld it together and see if that improves it just a touch. I mean, it's almost there, but I need it to be just a little tougher, a little stiffer, you know, like all of us. That should be enough. Let's give it a couple tacks to see if it makes a difference. Otherwise, I'll take it apart and box it, which I don't really want to do because it doesn't fit in my hands. Let's give this baby a whirl. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So it's almost there. Alrighty, that is working. It's got a long ways to go, but it is indeed looking promising. So I think I'll grab my stripper. She's not here today, but alrighty, it's a new day here. So in order to fix this portion, I guess I gotta take the fender off. Oh, not take the fender off, I gotta take the bumper off because it's bent. But played with this last night. It's looking a heck of a lot better. So I think this guy get all my crap out of the way. I think this guy is going to work. It's not necessarily as rigid as I want it to be. I did add that third piece there yesterday, but it's got a little bit of flex on it. So I don't know, maybe I can strengthen that up. Maybe if I take the third piece out and box this with a slight gap in it, it'll make it more rigid. You know, that triangle effect that all the engineers are always talking about. But for the most part, I am happy with the way this is working. But that'll be a different time. Anyways, thanks for watching. I got other projects to start, which would be the red piece of crap out in the driveway. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you sometime later. Thanks. Bye. Yes, how can I help you?